welcome back to the channel, or welcome to if you're new. If you've never been in here, we call it the Jay Stray Way. I discuss movies, react to trailers, pretty much just any cool hip topics. And speaking of cool and hip, this movie, The Northman, is that. So that means you should go support it, go see it, because it has so much detail crafted and so much care. Wow. It's directed by Robert Eggers, and I saw it 2 nights ago, and I've just had to kind of collect myself. As soon as it ended, I had a sigh of relief, and I could finally unclench my hands. I was holding my hands tight for like that last 30 minutes, but also it was just sad because I wanted more of this world, more shots, more of his cinematography, more of his weird style. This guy is becoming, the guy that directed this is becoming a staple in Hollywood, and I think when it's all said and done, he will be an icon of directors. Robert Eggers, man, he is a young guy too. I don't know the exact age, but you hear that name, you hear the movies he made, The Lighthouse, The Witch, The Northman, all period pieces. You would expect this older guy, maybe, I don't know, in my mind, call me weird, I expected like a Martin Scorsese, old, short, little white-haired man to be making movies like this, like a big history buff in a way. And no, this is a younger guy and makes it really inspiring. Also, we got Ari Aster, who did Hereditary and Midsummer, and then Jordan Peele. I mean, he's not all that young, but there's a lot of life in Hollywood, and there's so many good directors in every genre. And I love horror. Horror is my favorite type of genre, which this isn't, but this guy started as a horror director with The Witch, and all of his movies have subverted expectations. I don't know how, I would hate to be the guy that puts together the trailers for him, because his movies are so hard to sell almost. At this point though, he's building a fan base, and he's enough respect to where you put his name on it and people will see it, especially after this one. Can't wait to see what he does next. But it's really hard to give people a sample, just a little spoon bite, airplane bite of what they're going to get, which is kind of what a trailer is. Because I feel like people are going to go into this expecting this epic gladiator type revenge tale with Vikings and some crazy like epic action, you know. And no, it's got that. It's some really well filmed one takers, just where the camera's just following them. There's some amazing. The first big action scene was one of those with Alexander Skarsgard, and good lord, I gotta praise this guy. But yeah, they they really do a good job at blending in action when the movie needs it. But this is not an action film. This is a drama, period piece. But he makes new genres almost. This director, man, he really like puts things in a blender and puts your mind in a blender with it, and it's just becoming a thing with him where he does these hallucination scenes, where this one has the least amount. The Lighthouse was almost like a fucking acid trip, and it just never stopped getting weird, and to the point where you didn't know what was real. This one, it's pretty clear what's actually real and what's not. And yeah, he's definitely more reserved with the dreams in this one, but there are some fantasy scenes, and those are probably the most beautiful scenes in the movie. They have these grand epic shots and spectacle to them, and a little bit of CGI trickery in there. There's something involving a Valkyrie. That's a beautiful thing that they do. Wow. The story wise and visually just pleasing, but even the rest of the movie that's in reality has this just layered and amazing cinematography with the greens and the weather. You really feel like when the fire's cooking and these people are sitting there staring at it, you can feel it. And when they're burning bodies, you almost think you're smelling a body in the theater. Like, I know that sounds really morbid, but that's how really elusive these movies are, where they just kind of like reach out and pull you in. And he does that. He directs so well to where he does these almost how I'm talking to you, just if I got a little closer, where he has a lot of face to camera scenes where the camera really closes in on a character's face, and it makes you feel like you gotta stay and talk to him. It almost feels like a conversation or eye contact you can't break. He did that in The Witch, he did it in The Lighthouse, he does it in this one too. And this is probably the least characterization of any of his movies. You know what you're going for. You're going to see Vikings, and Berserker is what Alexander Skarsgard is in this. He gets into a berserker crew, and yeah, he's running around with this fucking axe. And you see photos of him, and that doesn't do it justice. I mean, the guy looked big in the promotion. I was like, oh, when I first got this is the first thing they ever released was the photo. And I was like, oh, that looks cool. Alexander Skarsgard's in a Robert Eggers movie. That's a weird pair. But I wanted to see this guy shine because he's an amazing actor. I've loved him since Straw Dogs. That's when it really like hit me. Like, this guy can pull some shit out of left field and really make you uncomfortable as an audience and just really grab your attention. And I love seeing him on full display in this one, literally, metaphorically, whatever. He is just, the silhouette shots of him, some beautiful shots. Silhouette and framing in this movie is amazing. But of him specifically, I mean, it looks like something out of a fucking, like, graphic novel. Like, the build of this guy is crazy, and you can't do it justice until you see the movie and see him standing next to other people. Like, I didn't realize how massive this guy really was, and like, we've seen all these actors do their crazy workouts and body transformations, but this one just felt different, and I really want this guy to get a lot of attention and credit, because he did the physical work. All these actors were thrown into these locations, rolling around in the mud, getting dirty, like all these things. I mean, they didn't legitimately do everything, but it required a lot more than what you're used to seeing, and it pays off because you really are stuck with these characters in these locations, and you just gotta feel it. And that's what I said about just feel like you can smell things and feel the snowflakes hitting you, because they do so good at illustrating what these characters are feeling and what they're going through. And it's just the actors, and seeing good actors paired with this directing is so beautiful. As much as The Lighthouse, I saw that and didn't know what the fuck I watched. I just know that I got two of the best performances I'd ever seen, especially Willem Defoe, and he's in this one as well. He plays a jester, and I just want to say, if you're a fan of him, don't expect a lot. Expect a good bit of just greatness out of him, but it's a good bit because he's always good. But he literally is just a bit in the movie. It's like almost just a little cameo. If you weren't aware that he was even in the movie, you might not notice it. I don't know. I guess there is a little bit of zooming in on him. But yeah, Ethan Hawke as well is amazing, and I had never seen him so stoic, and he plays a king, and yeah, he really, first shot, you instantly recognize this motherfucker is the real deal. And I love seeing him in work ever since Sinister. Yeah, he's just one of my favorite actors. I mean, he's always been good, but that's what really made me feel this love for him. So yeah, between this and then Moon Knight going on, dude's on top of the world, and everybody involved with this should be proud. Anya Taylor-Joy is Robert Eggers' secret weapon. I'm sure she'll be in every few movies that he does. He'll sprinkle her in. She's a big role in this one. She doesn't show up till about the second act almost, a little earlier than that, but yeah, she's really important to the plot, and she's been on a roll too, with her in Peaky Blinders, and then Last Night in Soho. Just, I love following her career, and she's been a part of some of my favorite things in the last few years. So yeah, she's great. She's amazing. She just got this angelic feel. The character, Alexander Skarsgard's character, is kind of captivated by her. There's a little bit of a romance. I'm not going to tell you too much. If you've heard the comparisons to Lion King and Hamlet, then you kind of know what you're getting in for. But at the same time, there is enough shock value in this movie and a little bit of twist, which you might see coming, but I didn't expect there to be any twist. I was soaking in the atmospheres and everything, and I didn't really think too much about the story. There's not a huge bunch, like, it's a journey for sure. It's like almost a bunch of side quests. It has this epic mythical feel to it. They have some spiritual elements with prophecies and all that, and it really makes you think about family pride and being born into families and what that really means, if you want it or not. It's some deep themes underneath it all, but the movie, as long as it is, it's 2 hours and 20 minutes, and it definitely has a little bit of a slow uphill battle in the middle, but I was still in love with it because I already loved what I was seeing. But I feel like not every audience member will like the middle, but it ends so strong and just so grand. It's just a grand movie. It's like a big asteroid fucking coming out of a volcano and hitting you with greatness is how this movie feels. It's just something you just watch coming at you and you're like, wow. And it's just, I wish more movies were treated like this. And I gotta save the best for last. Nicole Kidman is amazing. As good as we've seen her, she's never worked with Robert Eggers, and yeah, from interviews she said she wanted to, and she brought her A game for him. This is some of the best work I've ever seen her put in. The scene with her and Alexander Skarsgård, I like to always say something bold in my reviews or about a movie to kind of pique people's interest and get them to go see it. The best thing I can say about this movie that stood out for me, it has the best scene of the year so far between her and Skarsgård. Wow, all I can say is facial reactions, body reactions, sweating. I sweated during this movie. It doesn't always happen. I mean, it was a hot day, and yeah, but this movie is really intense, man. It really makes you just feel the surroundings, feel the stress of the characters. And yeah, it's just a pinnacle in cinema. And this guy is, like I said at the beginning, Robert Eggers is becoming a legend, and we're witnessing it. And I'm all here for it. I love this elevated storytelling, the elevated horror. You've heard that, and even in Scream they made fun of it. Now he's just doing other shit. I love that he didn't go for the horror, but there is a little bit of psychological creepiness in this movie. His directing in its own is freaky looking. And yeah, there's some freakiness. I feel like the scariest thing you can do is human behavior can be really unsettling. And he writes his actors to do some freaky things, to the point where, yeah, there's a little bit of scare in this, for me at least. On a deeper level, I was like, wow, like, I was captivated by what I was seeing, but I was actually pretty fucking scared for people in the scenes. I mean, yeah, Alexander Skarsgård is a beast, literally, in this movie, roaring, doing things that you don't see actors do, and God, man, I just don't want people to sleep on this performance. It was so good. Everybody was good. And then the uncle, I do not know that actor's name. I'm going to put a photo up of him. But the uncle was amazing. I mean, one of the best villains I've seen in a while. Like, I'd never seen this guy, and I was just kind of like, all right, how is this guy going to stand up against these legendary actors? Well, he probably stole the show aside from Nicole Kidman. He was fucking great, and yeah, he had to do a lot. He had to do this power ego thing, also being vulnerable, also being caring. He was required to do a lot, probably the most of anybody. He was a very like dimensioned character. He had a lot going on with him, and yeah, I just know at the end of this movie, I was choked up. I was so many fluids, sweat, all that, you know. And like I said, I was just gripped. It was a gripping movie. It had me by my hair at the very beginning and did not let go of me. It was great. It was what I wanted it to be. All I can say is just go see it. I'm not going to spoil it. If I tell you spoilers, it's one of those things where you just got to kind of witness it. It won't even be that exciting if I straight up tell you what happens. It's just a fucking epic movie and beautiful to look at. So yeah, if you listen to my recommendation for this, I appreciate you. I think this is definitely in the top 5 of the year easily. I mean, that conversation is silly to have in April, but yeah, this is a pinnacle in these medieval tales. And I've never really been a big fan of the medieval Middle Earth type storytelling and the history to it. Not much into reading. I'm not much of a book reader, so just in turn never been attracted to these types of projects. And I even to the point where I just finished Lord of the Rings like a week ago, and it was great. But yeah, this definitely is like gonna be hailed for me in my mind, in my perspective, as one of the best ones I've seen of that format of storytelling, because I usually steer away from it, and I only saw this because Robert Eggers, and yeah, he did it again. Another knocked it out of the park. If I had to rate his movies, I'd probably say this is his best one. It's his most emotional, which is something I meant to say earlier. It's the most emotion he has in a movie, in my opinion. Had me tearing up and stuff, but I'm an easy cry. But I would say this, The Witch, and then The Lighthouse. But they're all three fucking great, so I don't even like diminishing one over the other. But if you did want a ranking, that'd be it. So yeah, 5 out of 5, easily. Yeah, go see it. One of the best you'll see in a long time. Thanks for coming to the Jay Stray Way. I will hopefully get some trailer reactions out. CinemaCon's going on this week, so we might see some shit. I'm really hoping John Wick 3 gets revealed. We get a look at that, even though it got pushed back. There's been a lot of stuff getting pushed back. Mario movie just got pushed back. But we still got a few things to look forward to. Doctor Strange, 2 weeks, week and a half actually. So yeah, it's a good time to love cinema and to go to the theaters. So check it out, y'all. See you next time.